Hi, this is Jim Lenahan, and you're looking at one of my London Lead series heads. This is a nice white one with as much gold on it as I could get on there. It's really pretty to look at, and it sounds really good. I base the heads I like to build upon pretty early Marshalls, right after the JTM 45. There's still a small chassis, smaller head box than the ones that came later. 4 input, and then there's a mod that I use a lot that I learned in Los Angeles when I lived there. That a lot of famous records were done with, and you can certainly get a lot more gain today. There seems to be a race or something, or some kind of contest about how much gain can you possibly get out of an amp, but these have, I think, enough gain, especially if you're going to use it loud on a gig, and the tone is still there. You know, I've worked places that they got a lot more gain and stuff like that, but I think the tone pretty much disappeared. But I can show you how this is set up. I've got the regular 4 input Marshalls. You know, you get a high and low input for this volume, and a high and low input for that volume, and there's no room to put a master volume on the front really, so I put it on the back. And some people put the presence control on the back and put the master up here. You know, you can do it either way, but these 2 inputs right here, you can turn the master volume all the way up and plug into these 2 inputs and use this volume, and it's clean, sounds just like a regular amp. Or you can turn the master volume down and crank this volume through these inputs and get some distortion, but you know, it's just like a stock old Marshall. It just doesn't have all that much. So these 2 inputs here go to this volume, and since no one hardly ever uses the low input, I put an extra gain control in there because I'd seen people do that, like Jose and people like that. And you add an extra tube to this channel, so if you plug in here, crank this up, and then crank this up, and then have your master volume regulate your volume, this is how you get some really good world-class distortion. And I can show you by plugging into a few of these inputs and give you a few instances before we run out of time here. Get a guitar and see how much time we got left. Let's see here. Like I say, these things really for the amount of gain that they have, really have a lot of tone. Okay. Let's see if I want to do it normal. Plug in here. Have the master volume all the way up so it can be maximum clean. See, that's just like having no master when it's on 10, and you can just, this becomes your volume. Now, here's a low input. If you're getting too much distortion in this one, you can, you know, pat it down some with that, just like any old Fender or Marshall. But if you want to get some rock and roll, turn your master volume way down. You crank this extra tube up, you crank this extra stage up, and then regulate. So you can get a lot of different tones. Like you can keep this up, back this one down some, and crack this other one that you're not using because they're still somewhat interactive, and get a different sort of a tone. it's really usable. Some people like to back this one off and crank this one for yet another different tone. So it's a pretty versatile rig, has a really good sound. 50 watts, EL34s, 412X7s in the front end. Look for it on eBay. Check it out.